and I have not seen this deck yet. This is truly my first take. I have seen this on the internet for a little bit and I've heard it's a fantastic deck, but I have scrolled past any reviews that have come up because I want to have a raw take for you here in terms of what I think about this deck, and I also want to give you a flip through so you can form your own opinions. First off, just the box itself, it feels pretty sturdy. It doesn't seem like this is going to fold or break easily. Now let's open it here. Looks like it's a push box. Okay. Immediately when I'm feeling these, I really enjoy how these feel. It has a very matte kind of finish to it, and it has a really nice texture to it. Looking at what we get here, so it does not have a book that comes with it, but we do get keywords, and I think that this is enough, frankly. When it comes to decks, I personally don't think we need books to come with every single deck unless there's a lot of differences between that deck. There's a lot of bonus cards or something like that. So I actually really just like getting cheat sheets to come with it. I just popped through the keywords and I am really vibing with them. In this one, it does say have the lilies as sexuality and intimacy. Also creativity, which I find to be interesting for the lily. So that one's a little different for me. I tend to see creativity more as like a moon-sun combo or something like that. But overall, I vibe with these keywords. Okay, the other thing I really appreciate about these cards is the size. These are very Grand Tableau friendly, and I really appreciate that as someone who always underestimates how much space I'm going to need for a Grand Tableau on a table. These are really nice. All right, let's get to flipping here. We have the writer. Already, I just appreciate that we are going to have different skin tones represented. In Divination, that's something that we just don't see a ton of, and so I really appreciate that we have different skin tones. We also, this is going to kind of mixed opinions from folks, is that we don't have a face. And when it comes to this, and some people might find that easier to kind of place themselves in that position, or someone who may be representative of writer energy. Some people might like that. I don't know how I feel about that, but I really love that we have a multitude of skin colors, hopefully, that we'll see throughout this deck. The other thing I'm so far appreciating is how simple these cards are. It's very clear what the image is, and to me that's very important with a Lenormand deck, is you want to know exactly what emblem is on the card. It's labeled and it also has the number next to it. Now I'm noticing that we don't have the playing card inserts. For some people, I know that's really important. I don't really care so much about the playing card inserts. I don't think we really need them, but other people, if you read that way, then that's just something to note. But I appreciate that the number is clear, that the image is very clear what it is. I'm just going to flip through until we come to something to chat about here. I do really like this snake card. This is an interesting depiction of the birds. So usually on a typical birds card, you'll see a couple of birds. This has a lot of birds on them. So that's just an interesting take. And it looks like we have several options for the child card. So it looks like we have a baby, we have a full-fledged kid here, So 2 child card options there. So you would probably just pick one unless you had a reading with multiple children. I actually really like that there's more than one child here, because I'm often reading for people who have multiple children, and I usually end up charging a person card to represent the older one, and then I end up charging the child for the younger child. So I really like that we have multiple child cards. Definite bonus points for that. And we have a dog and a cat. Cat lovers rejoice. I like this arch here. It looks like we have little bunnies on the arch. That's a really cute detail. I don't think I've talked about the card stock quality, but it is pretty sturdy. I'll do a shuffle test with it, but this is pretty sturdy card stock. Okay, here we go into the people cards. So I'm assuming since we had multiple options for the child card, that there are going to be multiple options for people. And yep, here we go. Oh my gosh, how cool. So look, so far we have 2 male card options. Okay, so we have 2 men cards, and we have a woman card here. She's glamorous. Man, I am loving the diversity of this deck. That is something that just we don't get a lot of, and I just really, truly appreciate it. Okay, so it looks like we're getting 2 male cards, 2 female cards. That's a pretty fish card. I usually like to see multiple fish for this card, but it is very pretty. Okay, so that's the whole deck that I flipped through here. So it seems like we do have extra people cards. We have 2 child cards, we have a dog and a cat card, and we have 4 people cards total. So love that. And a lot of people say, what do I do with the people cards if I don't want them in my deck all the time? You can simply take them out and use them when you need to. So what I usually do is just have them set to the side. I leave them in the box at the bottom of the deck, and then I kind of flip through, pick what I need for a reading, and then leave the rest out. I really appreciate the diversity of this deck. I appreciate how simple it is to read this deck. It is very clear what it is. So this deck to me is definitely beginner approved. It also doesn't have a bunch of extra bonus cards, and I don't really think that's a pro or a con. I think that it's just helpful for beginners, especially, to not get tripped up by extra cards and things like that. So I really love this deck for beginners, especially. Another thing to notice is that it does not have the playing card inserts, as I mentioned. So that's just something to be aware of. Let's do a shuffle test. Oh my gosh, you guys, this shuffles so well. Definitely shuffle test approved. I'm into it. Shall we do a reading? So it seems like we do have extra people cards. We have 2 child cards. We have a dog and a cat card, and we have 4 people cards total. So love that. And a lot of people say, what do I do with the people cards if I don't want them in my deck all the time? You can simply take them out and use them when you need to. So what I usually do is just have them set to the side. I leave them in the box at the bottom of the deck, and then I kind of flip through, pick what I need for a reading, and then leave the rest out. I really appreciate the diversity of this deck. I appreciate how simple it is to read this deck. It is very clear what it is. So this deck to me is definitely beginner approved. It also doesn't have a bunch of extra bonus cards, and I don't really think that's a pro or a con. I think that it's just helpful for beginners, especially, to not get tripped up by extra cards and things like that. So I really love this deck for beginners, especially. Another thing to notice is that it does not have the playing card inserts, as I mentioned. So that's just something to be aware of. Let's do a shuffle test. Oh my gosh, you guys, this shuffles so well. Definitely shuffle test approved. I'm into it. Shall we do a reading? I'm going to do a little deck interview, and I will link the blog post I have that explains this along with a video I did. I love doing deck interviews as a way to get to know a deck. They all have slightly different personalities. So let's start by asking this deck, how would you describe your personality? So we're asking the deck what its personality is like. Remember, I think of divination like a relationship. So whenever we're getting into a new deck, I like to think of it as we're forming a slightly different bond than we are with other decks. Okay, so let's see. How would you describe your personality? Ooh, the heart, the fish, and the whip. Okay. I'm feeling one more. This guy, the sun. I'm getting that this deck is absolutely relentless with its love or with its care for the querent. I think that it's going to continue to illuminate situations. It's going to be persistent, and it's going to do what it needs to do with love to get a point across. Okay, ask the second question at your own risk. How would you describe my personality? Okay, so I'm asking the deck to describe my personality. Let's see. Ooh, okay, so I have anchor, cat, and tree. I'm going to see what the deck says about the cat card. So I looked at the keywords, and the cat means the same thing as the dog in this deck. I think the cat has a little bit more of a sassier personality. I think I am somebody that is very loyal. I'm very committed to seeing things all the way through. Taurus moon energy here. But when it comes to the tree here, I feel like once I really attach myself to a person, an idea, a topic like Lenormand, I'm really there for life. That's how I function. So I think that this deck nailed me in that way. When I've done deck interviews before, I'll share the example of the previous deck. It was not this nice to me. So I'm getting that this deck maybe has a little bit of a gentler vibe to it. The next question is, how would you like me to interact with you? How would you like me to interact with you? Scythe. Key. Whip. Wow. Okay. Okay, I'm getting these as clear instructions. So be direct, don't BS me. So this is like, don't, I think it's because I'm like, wow, this deck is gentler. It's like, nope, don't come to me with that BS. I'm still Lenormand. It's like, be direct and ask important questions and come to me again and again. All right. And the last question I like to ask is, what advice do you have for me today? Of course, I'm wrapping this up as my neighbor is mowing their lawn, so just please ignore if you can hear that. What advice do you have for me today? Oh, I got something on it. I did just feed my toddler lunch, so that's probably from me. What advice do you have for me today? Bouquet. Coffin. Garden. Fish. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, I think this is being pretty direct with me. I'm definitely doing things today that feel nice and that are very aesthetically pleasing. And what I really need to be doing is community-based work. This has to do with my membership, with a lot of things like that I have going on. So it's like, girl, get in your community, like pour abundance into that community. And when it comes to, you know, all these little frivolous tasks and things that I have to do, it's like, no, just don't do that. Do this. As we flip through this deck, I would love to know what your thoughts are. What card are you most eager to see as we go through this deck? I am so curious. What are your thoughts on this deck? I really, really like this deck, especially for beginners. I think it's a fabulous beginner deck. And I would recommend this deck to new folks wanting to learn Lenormand. And I would also send folks to this video if they're thinking about purchasing it. I think it's a really great addition to any Lenormand library, and I highly recommend. This is a fantastic deck to have in your arsenal. If you would like me to do more deck review videos, please let me know in the comments below, and I could keep these rolling. I also have a variety of books I've been sent that I would love to do some book reviews on, but I'm in graduate school, so I have not have time to get into that. But I have a number of books I can't wait to review for you here on this channel. So be sure to comment below if you want more review videos like this, and also what you enjoy most about these videos. Do you like the flip throughs and seeing each card? Do you like what my take is? I am just so curious what you resonate with most. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.